Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I will talk about the middle-age crisis indicators in the birth chart and more specifically about the transits that influence the events that occur in this phase of our life. Now, the middle-age crisis is connected to the key astrology cycles, and the ultimate meaning of this phase in our life is to move to a higher level of individuality that we were unable to achieve before. So let's start from the first transit. This is Pluto square Pluto. Now, Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, a planet of transformation, death, and rebirth. So here, people with prominent Pluto in their birth chart, Scorpio on their ascendant, Moon or Sun in Scorpio or Pact 8th house, they are likely to experience this transit on a more intense level because they are used to the intense energy that comes with Pluto transits. However, for the rest, it could be more challenging. Now, this transit is a time of regeneration, is a time to let go of the aspects or structures in our life that outlived their purpose. So here with this Pluto transit, we shouldn't cling to the past. We should move forward. We should let the future unfold, let the events unfold around this time. Any issues from the past that we pushed to the side before, they could reappear in our lives. They could become active. We might have to deal with them again at this time. Pluto brings changes. So the area of your life that will be most affected at the time of this transit, this is the area where this transit will occur. The next transit I wanted to discuss is Uranus opposition Uranus, and this transit occurs around the age 40-41. And this is a major middle-age crisis transit. This is a time of urgency. This is a time of unexpected events because this is what comes with planet Uranus. Unexpected events, rebellious behavior, unforeseen and sudden circumstances. So here with this transit, we might feel like we are running out of time. We might feel like we are not old, but we are not young anymore. We might become attracted to younger people, to find this inner child in us. Also, oftentimes, people during this transit, they make some really shocking and sudden, unexpected decisions. And this could be breaking up from a long-term relationship, changing careers, or, for example, a bachelor who said he would never get married. Suddenly, one day he wakes up, he decides he's getting married, or having a baby. So there could be some shocking events happening around this time with this transit, because inside we might have this feeling that this is our last opportunity to do something crazy or to do something to change our lifestyle completely and our life as well. Now, the third transit I wanted to discuss, this is the Neptune transit. And this transit happens around the age of 42. And here, Neptune, the mystical planet, the planet that could bring confusion. This is a time when we might not see things through or clearly. And this is a time of some strong reevaluations of our fulfillment, of our achievements, of our goals as well. Now, with this transit, after these reevaluations, we might decide we want to implement some changes into our lives. However, this is not a good time for making any big permanent changes, as after this transit is finished, we might realize that those changes were not the right ones. We were not satisfied with those decisions. So it's something to keep in mind and be mindful about any changes that occur or that you want to implement around this Neptune square Neptune transit around the age of 42. And again, to get a more understanding of what area will be affected around this transit. This is where Neptune will be transiting, the house that Neptune will be transiting at this time. And the final transit, this is Saturn opposition Saturn, and it happens around the age of 43-44. Saturn is a karmic planet, an old teacher. So here with Saturn, we could get rewarded. Or on the other hand, it could be a time of some strong realizations and dissatisfaction with some aspects of our lives. And here again, wherever Saturn will be transiting, whatever area of your life it will be transiting around this time, there you can get some more information or a hint of what you could possibly expect around this time. And here with this transit, you need to look back into your Saturn return, because this is when the new cycle of Saturn happened. So Saturn cycles, they last 28 years. And around the age of 28, 29, this is when you began your Saturn cycle. And here, usually during our Saturn return, we go through some big life changes. We become mature. We get married, we change careers, we move somewhere else. So there are usually some really big events that happen around this age. And if you look back, go back in time and think, whatever happened in your life at that point, did you think you were on the right path? Were you satisfied with your decisions at that point? Now, move forward 7 years. So this was when the first square occurred in this cycle. So that was around the age of 35, 36, the first square Saturn, transiting Saturn square natal Saturn. And this was the first trial, test, connected to whatever you began during your Saturn return, whatever events occurred, whatever you initiated around that time. So that was the first test in your life. And how did you deal with those energies during that age? Did you let go of any old structures during that time, of anything that was affecting your well-being, your relationships, or your career? Now, if you didn't clear away those old structures that were affecting your life ultimately, then during this Saturn opposition at the age of 43, 44, there could be some difficulties that come up. So let me give you an example. If you have been unhappy in your career in your 30s, and perhaps you began a new career at the end of your 20s, and then you had this testing time, this trial around the age of 35, 36, and you realized that you weren't dissatisfied. Maybe something happened, but you kept on going, you didn't change anything. You just thought, I'm sticking to it. Now during this Saturn opposition Saturn, there could be some challenging events happening in your career, for example. There could be some issues with your coworkers. There could be your efforts could be blocked through authority figures, through your bosses. And this is when you might realize that actually it's time to change. It's time to do something about this. This isn't it. So this is when you might actually implement some big changes, and something may occur around your career around this time. Or alternatively, if you were satisfied, if you worked hard, if you were satisfied with your career, and whatever you had to deal with during that first square, you dealt with it. Now during this opposition, this could be a peak in your career. You could receive some more responsibilities, but then at the same time more rewards as well. And you could look at this from a relationship point of view. If you got married in your late 20s, and during that first trial, whatever wasn't working, wasn't fixed, but you still stayed together. Now during this opposition, challenges that weren't dealt with before could come back, and it could be quite difficult to deal with them. So these are a few examples, depending on where this transit is happening in your life, but so that you can get a better understanding. And with this in mind, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments if you experienced any of this transit, or how these energies have played out in real life. If you want to share, that would be great. And thank you very much again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.